What is packing with you, YouTube? KHTV back with another video. Thank you guys for stopping by the channel where we talk about the greatest football team in sports history, the Green Bay Packers. But today we're going to break down the wild card playoff weekend of 2023/2024 of the NFL. We are finally here. We have our matchups. We have all of these teams set in stone of where they need to be in a seeding. And let's start it off with the Cleveland Browns facing off against the Houston Texans. Houston Texans coming in with a young, red hot team, especially their quarterback, CJ Stroud, who's probably going to win Rookie of the Year. Got a first year coach with D'Amico Ryan, who I think should be one of the candidates for Coach of the Year. Winning a division, the AFC South, taking on one of the best defenses this year in the Cleveland Browns out of the AFC North. I think this is Cleveland's first time in the playoffs in a while, along with the Houston Texans. I should have rolled with the Houston Texans last week, just knowing how the NFL is really pushing for the youth movement. A lot of these quarterbacks in the playoffs are young, talented guys. So yeah, I think this game is going to be real close. I think it's going to be a close game because Houston has a pretty good defense. Got some young guys over there in the linebacker. I think I forget his name. I forget the linebacker's name. But he's a candidate for defensive rookie of the year. So they got a possible chance of winning an offensive rookie of the year with C.J. Stroud and having a defensive rookie of the year for the Houston Texans, and possibly coach of the year. So, shout out to them, man. Cleveland had one of the best defenses this year with Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, and that fast, hard hitting secondary. And then they went through their ups and downs, dealing with injuries at the quarterback position, losing Deshaun Watson. I forget the other backup they brought in, but I think he got hurt. And then they called up Joe Flacco, man. And Joe Flacco carried this team to a 11-6 record. That is phenomenal. So shout out to Joe Flacco back in the playoffs, having another chance to win a ring. But we gon' break this down and see how the NFL is trying to put these matchups together. So, first game of the day, I'm probably going to bet on the Cleveland Browns, and I know the Texans have this youth movement going, and it possibly could be, good if the Houston Texans went on to the next round as well. So either one of these teams is great for the playoffs. But when you're paying attention to the storylines like I do, you would have to roll with the Cleveland Browns to win the game. It just sets up a better matchup for Houston. Either way, Houston is the home dog right now, but I think Cleveland is going to win this game. I think the defense is probably going to be the reason why they win this game. It's been the reason why they've been winning games all year. But then, adding Joe Flacco at the quarterback position with some experience, it gives the defense a chance to really play some great football against this young, talented offense with the Houston Texans. So I'm going to roll with the 5th seed Cleveland Browns because it just seems like a better matchup for them to go play Baltimore. Division rivalry. They played twice this year earlier. I think they split. So yeah, I think it'll be a better matchup. Either matchup would be good, you know what I'm saying? But I just think that 5th seed gotta play that 1 seed. Next game, so yeah, I'm rolling with Cleveland. Next game, you got Miami going to Kansas City. Tyreek Hill facing off against his old team he won the Super Bowl with, the Kansas City Chiefs, playing against his old quarterback Patrick Mahomes. So this is gonna be a real big game for Tyreek Hill to get up and go out there and showcase his skills against his old coach, Andy Reid. But this is going to probably be one of the coldest games in playoff history. It is going to be so cold in Kansas City. And I don't know how Miami is going to deal with that. You got the Chiefs winning their division, 11-6. Patrick Mahomes has a huge chance to be one of the quarterbacks to go back to back since Tom Brady and the Patriots. Travis Kelsey, the Kansas City Chiefs have been dealing with their ups and downs, with the receiving core and the defense and injuries and Patrick Mahomes throwing interceptions and not playing like the Patrick Mahomes we know, but I think he will in this game. Yeah, I'm gonna roll with Kansas City to take care of business against the Miami Dolphins. Miami has had a great year. I don't know if Jalen Waddle was gonna play, but yeah, Coach Mike McDaniel's hell of a coach had a great year, and I think this is a great matchup. Mike McDaniel's facing off against Andy Reid should be exciting, but with it being a snow game, I don't know, man. I don't know if the score is gonna be up there like that. But like the Cleveland game and Houston game, I think that game gonna be close. This game, I don't know. I don't know how the score gonna turn out, especially with it being bad weather. But I do believe Kansas City will win the game because this is right up their alley. And then of course you got the 7 seed Pittsburgh Steelers facing off against Buffalo. Mike Tomlin, once again, not having a premier guy on the offensive side of the ball all season long, going through Mitchell Trubisky and Kenny Pickett, and now they dealing with Mason Rudolph at the quarterback position. But Mike Tomlin still found a way to have a winning record. But I think that's today is where the winning stops for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They don't have TJ Watt. I think he's hurt in this game. I think he's going to be out. And, Buffalo's just going to be too much to deal with, especially when you got a big 6'5", 200 and I don't know how many pounds Josh Allen weighs, running the ball and throwing the ball at home in Buffalo to Stephon Diggs and Gabe and the up-and-coming rookie receivers that they got on that team. I just don't see how Pittsburgh will be able to stop Buffalo, especially with a running attack with James Cook. I think that's going to be, and along with Josh Allen, I think that's going to be a tough time for the Pittsburgh Steelers front, defensive front to deal with. I think this game might be a blowout in favor of the Buffalo Bills. Sean McDermott should take care of business. You got Dalton Kincaid, the tight end, who's probably going to show up in this game. So, yeah, man, I think Buffalo is going to blow out the Pittsburgh Steelers, send them packing. Now let's jump over here to the NFC side of the football in the playoffs, where you have a plethora, a whole bunch of narratives, whole bunch of storylines going on over here, man. I think the NFC conference in the playoffs, the teams that we have matched up this season, is great for football. It's great for the NFL. All these storylines, all these connections going on with the NFC conference in the playoffs this year. Starting off with, we'll get to the Philly and Tampa Bay because I think they play Monday night. Let's start it off with the Green Bay Packers facing off against the Dallas Cowboys. The game that has every Cowboys fan nervous as hell. All these Cowboy fans have been shitting bricks. I thought I was going to see a whole lot of hate. We got to beat the Packers videos. I didn't really see any of that. A lot of the videos that the Cowboys fans were making were about Dak Prescott getting snubbed from the MVP, injuries on the offensive line of the ball, just injuries in the, they more worried about their team getting over the Packers right now. That's the thing they want. They just, oh, we could beat the Packers because they don't know what to expect from this young Packers team, which is one of the youngest teams in the NFL, which is a huge narrative in these playoffs. You know what I'm saying? The Green Bay Packers are 5-0 in Dallas Cowboys Stadium, you know, with with Aaron Rodgers at the quarterback position. I think the last time, I think the only time we lost to the Cowboys was when Brett Favre was being inducted into the Ring of Honor in Lambeau Field. Yeah, that's when the Cowboys had Zeke. Zeke ran all through us. We lost that game. But yeah, all of the narratives in this game, all of the narratives. You have Mike McCarthy, former Green Bay Packer coach. You got Dan Quinn, you know, who used to be coaching buddies with Matt LaFleur when they was over there with the Falcons when they lost that Super Bowl against Tom Brady. You got a whole lot going on right here in this game. You know, Dak Prescott and him getting his revenge over the previous games he's lost to the Green Bay Packers. The funniest thing is that it's going to take it's going to take a former Green Bay Packer coach to beat the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs for the Dallas Cowboys. That's the funniest thing to me. But yeah, back to this game, man. If I'm looking at how the NFL is, I think the Dallas Cowboys will beat the Green Bay Packers this year in the playoffs. It just makes sense to me. Even though there is a narrative for the Green Bay Packers being the youngest team in the NFL in the playoffs. I don't, and you know, we injured. We don't got AJ Dillon playing in this game. Luke Musgrave is gonna play. He's finally healthy enough to play, so that's some good news. Still don't know about the health of Christian Watson, and then Jair Alexander twisted his ankle in practice, so he's doubtful. So yeah, the Green Bay Packers got a lot of things that give them a disadvantage going into this game, but we've been here before with this team, with the Green Bay Packers. We've been injured before and still beat teams. A lot of this is probably going to be placed in the hands of Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur. You know, Matt LaFleur has to out coach two coaches. He got to out coach Dan Quinn, and he has to out coach Mike McCarthy. On the other side of the ball with the Cowboys, what kind of Mike McCarthy are you going to get on Sunday coaching the Dallas Cowboys? Are you going to get conservative Mike? Are you going to get over aggressive Mike where he makes bad decisions throughout the game, especially in situational football? If they're in the red zone and it's 4th and 2, Mike McCarthy, you know, he like to go for it at the wrong time, and sometimes it might cost him based off of some of the plays, the play calling that he's gonna have in this game. So, you know, I could see a whole lot of different scenarios of how this could play out. Or the Green Bay Packers could just come out there, play fast, physical football, play give no fucks football, and upset the Dallas Cowboys. There's a possible upset within this matchup that has the Dallas Cowboys nervous. You know what I'm saying? Even though Christian Watson, if he's not available to play, you know, it ain't like we beat the Cowboys with just Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones beat the Cowboys before by himself. He rushed for 4 touchdowns. Eddie Lacy beat the Cowboys. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't like we need our starters to beat the Cowboys because we beat them with less. But if I'm looking at this, how the NFL wants this to ride out, I think that the NFL don't want to see the Green Bay Packers going to San Francisco. I don't think they want to see that. I think they rather see the Eagles go to San Francisco and play against the 49ers. So if I'm looking at this through the eyes of the NFL lens, I think Dallas will beat the Green Bay Packers. I don't have a score prediction, and they move on to the next round. Okay, next game. We got the 6 seed Los Angeles Rams facing off against the 3rd seed Detroit Lions. Now we just had the game against the Detroit Lions and the Cowboys. I think that was a Saturday game, which was weird. And you had a lot of controversial things happening at the end of that game. I don't know why Dan Campbell just didn't kick the field goal and then play to win the game in overtime. But hey, that's Dan Campbell's coaching. So yeah, it's a reason why the Detroit Lions are in the playoffs this year. And one of the reasons why I think they're in the playoffs this year is because this year's NFL draft will be held in Detroit. Ta-da! Ta-da! Detroit 0-16 Lions. Ah. So that's the reason why I think the Detroit Lions won the division and are in the playoffs as a 3rd seed is because they have the draft in Detroit this season. But with that being said, you got the red hot Rams, man. Matt Stafford used to play for Detroit, got traded to the Rams. Jared Goff used to play for the Rams, got traded to Detroit. Jared Goff also took the Rams to a Super Bowl where they lost to Tom Brady. And then, in turn, pick up Stafford. Stafford wins the Super Bowl against the Bengals, upsetting the 49ers in the NFC Championship that year. Sean McVay wins the chip. Rams hot. I think one of the hottest teams in the NFC towards the end of the season, along with the Green Bay Packers. You know, Aaron Donald, Puka Nakua, Cooper Kupp. Tough game, tough game, tough game. But if I'm looking at this through the lens and the eyes of the NFL, I think Detroit holds it down at home and beats the Rams. Jared Goff gets his get back against the Rams, trading him off and winning the Super Bowl without him. I think Jared Goff gets his get back. You know what I'm saying? They got a ASB over there, who I think is probably gonna light the Rams up. They don't got Jalen Ramsey at the cornerback position no more with the LA Rams, who's over there with the Miami Dolphins. Of course, Aiden Hutchinson. Who else do they have on this team? Oh, young, talented running back, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. So, yeah, I think the Lions hold it down at home. They get a home playoff win, and I think that's where they ride ends. I think that's where the ride stops for them. But, yeah, I got them beating the Rams. Then we have the Monday night game. But before we get there, I hope Dan Campbell don't make no mistakes, man. He can't make no mistakes in a game like this. He possibly could blow this game. So, be careful with Dan Campbell, man. So I think that will set them up. Detroit winning will set them up to go to play in Dallas. Dallas have a home playoff game. 2 home playoff games for the Dallas Cowboys. Then Monday night, we have the 5th seed Philadelphia Eagles facing off against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Florida. Baker Mayfield in the playoffs. Todd Bowles in the playoffs after the Cowboys put the Tampa Bay Buccaneers out of the playoffs last year. Shout out to Dak Prescott for that. But yeah, this is gonna be a tough game. Philly has been losing some pretty ugly games, and I think they did that for a reason, just so they could have an easier path to the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts getting a little revenge on the team that put him out of the playoffs his first time in the dance. I don't know how healthy AJ Brown is gonna be. That's a question mark. Philly has been struggling, but I think Philly gets right. think they get back right this game. Sirianni, I think he redeems himself in this game, along with the Philadelphia defense. Baker Mayfield is going to have to play mistake-free football, and I think they'll have enough. I think the Philly defense can do enough to slow down Mike Evans. You know, Mike Evans still might score a touchdown, but I think they slow him down. I think the Philly pass rush looks like the Philly pass rush of old, and I think they get to the quarterback in this game, setting it up for them to face off against the San Francisco 49ers. That I don't think the Eagles fans are gonna be too excited about. Sorry, I'm laughing, Eagles, but this is how I think the NFL is trying to set it up to where we will have Philly heading to San Fran and Detroit headed to Dallas. And on the AFC side of the ball, we'll have Cleveland heading to Baltimore, and we'll have Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes' first time on the road, heading to Buffalo. So those are my picks for this week, man. I appreciate y'all for stopping by and listening. You know, I hate to say that. I hate to say the Green Bay Packers will lose against Dallas, but I'm gonna bet. I'm gonna bet on Green Bay. I'm gonna put money on Green Bay because there is a possible upset, and there is a storyline with the Green Bay Packers being the youngest team in the NFL in the playoffs. That's historic in its own. We're the only team to do that. Have a young team at the average age of 25 years old in the playoffs. I would love to see an upset. You know, we got history. You know, which will, if we beat the Cowboys, that'll put us in line to play against San Francisco. And I just don't think the NFL is ready to see that matchup yet. You know, they got a lot. They got a huge chance to make a lot of money off of the Dallas Cowboys. We ain't gonna get there. We ain't gonna get there just yet. We ain't gonna get there just yet. We'll say that for next week. But for right now, yeah, man. Once again, the picks I'm rolling with: Dallas, Detroit, Philly, Cleveland, Kansas City, and Buffalo. Shout out to the Outlaws. Y'all know who y'all are. Shout out to Higher Point of View, AJ, TR, Big Nate, Packer fan in Vegas. B-Mac, we've been trying to get an MTC done with B-Mac. B-Mac has been under the weather. He ain't been feeling too good. So, man, speedy recovery to you, man. Oh, yeah, once again, man, shout out to Big Nate and his family, man. Y'all be safe out there in that snow, man. You know, it's, some bad weather out there. So, yeah, man, remember to like, share, and subscribe. I'm your man, Cage TV, and I'll holla at y'all next week. Go Pack Go.